Hi friends, welcome back to our channel. This is Stacey. I'm so glad you're here for today's fun video where I am going to be showing you a book unhaul. These are the books that Steph and I are deciding to get rid of to start the new year and our bookshelves off fresh. I hope you enjoy the video. So Steph and I did a kind of like bookshelf clear out recently. I actually filmed a reset video sharing some of the process of like decluttering and organizing for the new year. So that video will be up soon if it's not already. So stay tuned, or I'll link it if it's already up. But yeah, we wanted to reset for the new year like everybody does, and that includes our bookshelves behind us because we're really trying to read through our physical TBRs this year. And we have a lot of books, as you could see. So yeah, we're really trying to read what we have this year. And also we wanted to do a little purge and clear out of our shelves to get rid of books that we either have read and we don't want to keep anymore, or books that we've lost interest in and we haven't read yet, but we're no longer interested in reading them. Sometimes, you know, as readers, our tastes change and evolve. Our reading tastes do kind of change over time. So yeah, some of the books I'm going to be sharing are usually for unhauls, books that we've read and we just didn't like enough to keep, because we try to only keep books now that are like our favorites and that we would reread multiple times. Otherwise, we just don't have the space. So I'm going to walk you through the books. Let me know in a comment below if you've read any of these. Let me know your thoughts. And let me know if you have unhauled any books for the new year, or if you plan on unhauling books, what are they? I would love to know. But without further ado, let's get into the video and I hope you enjoy it. So the first couple books are actually a series. And I actually started this series last year. So last year I read book 1, which was The Program by Suzanne Young. It's a really old young adult dystopian series. And I read the first one last spring or summer, and I really liked it. And I actually just read book 2, which is The Treatment. I listened to the audiobook this month in January when I'm filming, and I also really liked it. So I'm unhauling. I have the rest of the series here. So there's 6 books in the series. So these are the other 4 in the program series. So I have the other 2 books, but they're in my car because I just put them in there when I was done reading them to get rid of them. But these are the other 4 that I haven't read in the series. I actually got really lucky. I actually got all of these except for this one in a Little Free Library. So the Little Free Library had pretty much the entire series except for the last book. And then I bought the last book myself for a cheap price because I figured I was going to read it. But I'm deciding to unhaul this series. Like I said, I read the first 2 books, but I have not read these 4 yet. But I'm deciding to unhaul them because I just don't feel like I need the physical copies, because I want to say it's on Hoopla, but Hoopla actually has the audiobooks for all of these books, the entire program series. So I just feel like it's a series that I don't really need to keep the physical books for. If I want to continue the series, I can kind of just listen to them, borrow them from Hoopla and listen to the audiobooks, because I listened to the audiobook for book 2 recently and I really liked the audiobook version. So I just kind of feel like, you know, since I can borrow the audiobooks for the rest of the series anytime through Hoopla, I just don't really feel the need to keep the physical books. Because, you know, they just take up a lot of space on my shelf. And while they're very pretty, like I love the white, I just don't feel the need to keep these since I can just borrow them from the library and everything when I'm ready. And to be honest, I don't know if I'm going to continue the series. Because books 1 and 2 are kind of like their own series, if you will. Like, they're all series combined, but books 1 and 2 are about like a certain group of characters, and then I guess the rest of these are about like different characters. So in my mind, it's almost like they're 2 different series. So I really like books 1 and 2, but I just don't know if I'm honestly going to want to read these. I don't know. I was looking at the plot for the next one, which is The Remedy, and it's just different characters. So I'm not sure if I'm actually going to even read them. So like I said, just to make more room on my shelves, I figured I would get rid of these and unhaul them, give them to a little free library. Somebody else can enjoy them, because I just don't feel like I will read these physical copies. I don't even know if I'm going to finish the series. And like I said, if I do want to finish it, I can literally just borrow the audiobooks from Hoopla anytime. So I'm getting rid of the program series by Suzanne Young. The next book, and a lot of these books are actually Steph's books, just a forewarning, because she actually has a lot more unread books than I do. So most of these are hers that she's unhauling. So the next one is this one that Steph had. This is called The Bookish Life of Nina Hill. And you guys are probably familiar with this one. I think this one's pretty like well known. And neither of us have read it, and we both just kind of lost interest in it. Just one of those books we've had on our shelf for a while that we're just like not really interested in reading anymore. Our excitement has gone down. So we're just gonna get rid of it, give it a new home. But it does sound interesting because the main character, I think she works in a bookstore. But yeah, and a lot of these books like are marketed as romance that we're getting rid of, but they're actually more like women's fiction and not a lot of romance in them. And we don't like that. We're not huge women's fiction readers. We like the romance. So a lot of these are more women's fiction, but we thought they were romances. So we're giving them away because they don't have a lot of romance in them. So I think this is one of them that's kind of like more women's fiction, which is what we just really don't read. So we are going to unhaul this one as well. The next one's actually an ARC, because if you guys didn't know, Steph works at a bookstore and she gets ARCs all the time, which are advanced reader copies. So it's kind of like free copies of books before they're released. So she got this one from work, and I think she just decided to unhaul it because she lost interest. She hasn't read it yet. This is called Miss Morgan's Book Brigade, and it's coming out February 26th of 2024. So it looks like this. It has a cute cover. It's coming out next month. And yeah, I just think Steph doesn't want this anymore. And she got it from work for free, so it's not like she is wasting money. And it looks like it's like a historical book. And we love historical romance, but we're not like huge historical fiction readers. And I think that's what this is. So we both just kind of decided to get rid of this one as well. This one I believe is an ARC as well that Steph also got from work. This is called Good Fortune. You can see the cover. And I don't know anything about this one. Steph got this from work and then just decided to get rid of it. But it's set in Chinatown, so there's some like Asian representation. But yeah, Steph and I, like, again, just don't really want to read it. It's not a priority, so we're just going to unhaul this one as well. The next one is also Steph's. This is also an ARC she got from work. This one is called The Mayor of Maxwell Street. It looks like this. It has a really pretty cover, but again, I don't know anything about this. This is historical because it takes place in 1921. This one seems kind of like historical, but also very like political. And that's just not what Steph and I usually read. So I think she got this at work for free since it's an ARC, and she just kind of like lost interest. So we'll be unhauling this one as well. This next one is also an ARC. This one comes out May 7th of this year. This one's called Shanghalanders. I think that's how you say it. And again, I don't know anything about this. Steph got this at work, and I think she just lost interest in it. It looks like it's also another Asian author. But yeah, I think she just lost interest. So we're just gonna get rid of this one as well. The next book we're unhauling is, I think this is another ARC as well. This one's called Tanman Square, I think is how you say it. I could be saying that wrong. Again, another ARC Steph got from work. She was just going through her ARCs because she had so many and just decided to get rid of a bunch. So haven't read this one. It's a chunky one, so we're both really not interested in reading it. So we're just going to get rid of this one as well. This next book, Steph, I think she bought this like a while ago and she never read it. So again, I think she just lost interest in it. This is called Almost There, A Twisted Tale. And this is like a series of like, I think they're like Disney books from like different authors. So this is based off of like the Princess and the Frog Disney movie, which Steph and I love that movie. So I think that's why she bought the book, but she hasn't read it. And yeah, I think she just kind of lost interest in it. So we're going to get rid of this one as well. This next one is also Steph's. This was actually a book of the month book that she never read, and I think she just kind of lost interest in it. This one is called These Violent Delights. It looks like this. It has a really pretty hardcover. It's a book of the month hardcover that Steph got. And yeah, I'm pretty sure she just, again, lost interest in it. She hasn't read it. And I'm not really interested either. I think it's like a fantasy or something. But yeah, we're just not interested, so we're going to get rid of this one. This next one is a really old series. It's a YA, I think it's dystopian series. You guys might remember it from back in the day. But Steph got this book at a used bookstore because she was planning on reading the series, but I don't know, I think she lost interest. This is called Into the Still Blue by Veronica Rossi. I don't know if you guys remember this series. It was really big like when we were in high school in like the 2010s. And again, this is a series. We haven't read it, and yeah, Steph was going to read it, so she bought this at a used bookstore. And I think it's the first one is Under the Never Sky. We haven't read it, but yeah, I think she lost interest, so we're deciding to get rid of this one as well, since we also don't have the rest of the books in the series. The next one is also Steph's that she's getting rid of. This is called Frankly in Love by David Yoon. And again, she hasn't read it. I think she's been wanting to read David Yoon's books, but she tried it and she DNF'd it. She just didn't like the writing or something. This is a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, so it has a really cool cover and like the pages. But yeah, I think she tried it and she just couldn't get into it, so we're going to unhaul this one as well. The next one is also Steph's that we're unhauling. This is The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. Steph got this in a little free library actually. And the series is very popular, and I think she still wants to read it, but the reason she's getting rid of it is because she said she doesn't like this copy because it's super old, and we're not a huge fan of mass market paperbacks, especially for fantasy books. So it's just super chunky and it's just like old and used, and I just don't think she wants this copy. I think she's going to purchase a new copy when she's ready to actually read the book, but we've heard really good things about this series. But yeah, we're just going to get rid of this copy and buy a newer one. The next book I've read and Steph hasn't read yet, and I told her she needs to read it because it's one of my favorite books, is The Longest Ride by Nicholas Sparks. You guys know I'm a huge fan of his. I read most of his books. This one is my all-time favorite, so I highly recommend this one if you haven't read it. And you're probably wondering, why are you getting rid of this? Well, I had the book a long time ago and I got rid of it. And I really want Steph to read this book. So we actually rebought this copy at a used bookstore. You could definitely see it's used. It's not like the best condition, and it's like a mass market. I don't know what you call this. It's like between a mass market size and a regular paperback. But yeah, so I do want Steph to read this because it's one of my favorite books of all time. But she's getting rid of this one because, again, she doesn't like this copy. She doesn't like this size, and I don't really care for the size either. We would rather get the actual, you know, the bigger paperback. We're just not a fan of like mass markets. So we're just going to get rid of this edition, this one, and then we're going to buy just like a brand new one. But I absolutely love The Longest Ride. This is one of my all-time favorite books. I highly recommend it. And yeah, Steph is still planning on reading it, but again, we just don't want to keep this copy. We're going to get a brand new one. So we're going to get rid of this one. The next one is also a book Steph bought at Books A Million in the bargain section. You guys know we love their bargain section. They have books for like $5. So Steph bought this one on a whim last time we were there. We'd never heard of it, but she bought it anyways. This is called What We Were Promised. And it looks like this, and I have no idea what it's about. I know it's an Asian author. But yeah, Steph bought this on a whim when we were book shopping in the bargain section there like a year ago. And yeah, I think she just lost interest in it. So we're just going to get rid of it. The next one Steph also bought. This is called Last Tang Standing. Again, another book from an Asian author. I think this is like another women's fiction book. And like I said, we're just not big women's fiction people. We love the romance. So when books don't really have romance in them, we don't really like want to read them, if that makes sense. Like, we're just not big women's fiction readers. And yeah, a lot of the times like women's fiction books will be marketed as romance, which is wrong. So we'll end up buying them thinking they're like a romance book like this, and then we're deceived and we find out that it's not actually romance, it's women's fiction. So that's what happened here. So I think Steph started it and then she just decided to get rid of it because, like I said, it's more women's fiction. It's not romance. There's really no romance in it. And that's what we like. So yeah, we're just not interested in this one anymore. So we're going to get rid of this one as well. The next one Steph also bought. This is You Had Me At Ola by Alexis Daria. And yeah, same thing again. I think like, I don't know. I think she just lost interest. I don't think she's read this one. Yeah, I just think she lost interest in it. So we're going to get rid of this one as well. The next one was also Steph's that she didn't read. This one is called Natalie Tan's Book of Luck and Fortune. I really like the cover on this one. Super pretty, but again, we haven't read this one and I just don't think we'll get to it. Again, it looks like more like women's fiction. The main character like lost her mom and it's kind of like her life just like going back to like her family and like I said, just not really what we like. We're not big women's fiction people. We want the romance. So yeah, we're gonna get rid of this one as well. The next one Steph also bought. This is Made in Korea and she loves books written by Asian authors, as you could tell. But again, I don't think she read this one. I'm not exactly sure why she's getting rid of it. I think she just lost interest in it. So we're going to be unhauling this one as well. The next one we also got at Books A Million. Last time we were there in the bargain section. This is called You've Reached Sam. Again, more Asian representation. It was super cheap, so we picked it up, but we never read it. And yeah, I think we both just kind of lost interest. We've heard it's like a really sad book. It's like about like losing someone young, and again, just not what we typically read. We're more romance readers. We don't really like to read like sad books like this very often. So yeah, we just like lost interest in it. So we're gonna get rid of it. Next one, Steph bought. You guys know we're huge fans of Little Women. That is like our favorite classic. So Steph bought these two paperbacks in the Little Women collection. This one is called Joe's Boys and this one is called Little Men. So these are both written from the same author who wrote Little Women, and they're kind of like companions, I think. I haven't read them. Steph started them. So it's about like Joe, like later on in life. And I think they're both about Joe and how she opens up like a school for like young boys. But so we both love Little Women, but Steph, I think, started these and they're so adorable. Like I love the covers, but I think she just lost interest in them. Like, I don't know. I just think she just like didn't really want to read them anymore. But Joe March is our favorite sister. If you're a Little Women fan, let us know who your favorite sister is. But we love Joe. We can relate to her so much. So yeah, like these look really cute with the covers and everything. But yeah, just lost interest in them. So we're going to get rid of these, give them a new home. The next book Steph actually started reading recently, and unfortunately she DNF'd it because she just wasn't loving it. This is The Hobbit from Tolkien, and yeah, neither of us had read The Hobbit before, so Steph finally started it this month. She was so excited for it because she's a huge fantasy reader, as you guys know, and she tried it, but unfortunately it wasn't for her. She put it down because we're people who love like female main characters most, and she said there were no females in this book. There's no romance, you know. the things we typically like just aren't here. It's all like male characters, and yeah, there's no romance in it. So she started it and DNF'd it. She just lost interest, unfortunately, but at least she tried it. So we are going to give this a new home. This next one is a book that I actually read like a few days ago, and I almost DNF'd it, but I made myself just kind of stick it out to the end. But I did not enjoy this book at all. I left a generous Goodreads review. I think I gave it 2 stars on Goodreads. And you guys know I love most books I read, so it's very rare if I don't like a book. So this one just was not for me at all. I didn't enjoy it. This is A Holly Jolly Ever After. This is the sequel to a Merry Little Meet Cute. You guys have probably seen that book. I had never read that one, but I think they're kind of companions. So Steph actually got this for free at work, because sometimes at work they'll give them like damaged copies of books. So this one's like a little damaged on the back, so they just gave it to her for free. So Steph was gonna get rid of it, and I just decided to read it because I thought the cover was like really cute. Like, it's very wintry, exactly what I was in the mood for this month, you know, in January. But when I read this, I did not enjoy it at all. All I'm gonna say is there's way too much smut for me. You guys know Steph and I are Christians, so we prefer more clean romances where the like love scenes are more closed door and kind of like off screen, if you will. We don't want to see a lot of love scenes, and we don't like a lot of physical attraction and lust between characters. We want to see a real romance being developed. We are not fans of like hookups in books, one night stands, and all that stuff. And this entire book was literally the characters like hooking up, literally. Like, pretty much every page to like every other page was just smut after smut. And I was not expecting that at all, because the cover is just so deceiving. Like, just by the cover, it looks like it was a cute, adorable, kind of like Hallmark-ish, kind of like rom-com, right? That's what it looks like. But no, the cover is so misleading. There is absolutely no romance in this book whatsoever. Just be warned if you read it. It is not a lighthearted, cute, rom-com-y type of book at all. There's zero romance. It's literally just the characters hooking up. Literally. And then, not to spoil it, but a lot of people don't like this book because there's a trope that everyone hates in the second half of the book. So just be warned if you read this. I don't recommend it. But if you like smutty books, then feel free to give it a try. But I was not a fan. Way too much smut. And like I said, an unlikable trope. And the characters were just not likable. Couldn't connect to them. There was no development or anything. So, and the cover is very misleading. So I don't recommend this one. I did not enjoy it at all. It's just not for me. So with that being said, I am unhauling it because, especially if I didn't enjoy a book, I am not going to keep it because I will not read this again. So there's no point in having it take up space on my shelves. So I'm getting rid of this one as well. A few more to go. The next one is called The Last Story of Mina Lee. Again, this is Steph. She got this. It was a book of the month book. And I don't know anything about it. I think she just lost interest in it again. It looks like another kind of like Asian main character. But I think it's women's fiction again, which is what we don't like. So we're trying to, before we buy books now, so this doesn't happen again, we're trying to do more research before we buy anything to make sure it's actually romance and not women's fiction, because you guys can see in this video, we bought all these books thinking they were romance, but they're not. They're women's fiction. So we're finding that in order to not waste money like this, we need to research books first and make sure they're what we like before we buy them. So we've definitely learned our lesson from this video. But again, another women's fiction book, lost interest, so we are going to unhaul it. The next book is called Loveboat. And again, this was Steph's, another Asian main character. Don't know anything about it. I'm pretty sure she just lost interest, so we are going to get rid of this one as well. The next one Steph got from a little free library. This is a little princess, and I think she just lost interest, and this is a pretty beat up copy. It's very used, as you can see, just not in good condition, so I think we're just gonna give this one a new home as well. And the last book is actually a book that I read, and this is one of my favorite romance authors, Jenny Hale. This is the Summer Hideaway. I love this author's books so much. Highly recommend them. She writes the most adorable, like, lighthearted, chick lit romance books, which is exactly what Steph and I like. They're very clean as well. No smut, like no swearing either. They're very, very clean, like Nicholas Sparks' books. Highly recommend these books. So, I already read this one. And like I said, most romance books I don't reread. I just reread them once. And I kept this book so Steph could read it. But we actually have a lot of her books on our Kindle. So I think we're just going to get rid of this copy because Steph said we can just get the book on Kindle when she's ready to read it, since we already have most of her books on our Kindle Paperwhites anyways. So I loved this book. I highly recommend it. I read it last summer. Cute summer romance. But yeah, we're just going to get rid of the physical copy because we don't need it anymore since I've already read it. And then if Steph wants to read it, we'll just get it on our Kindle instead. But that is it. You made it to the end of the video. Those are all the books we are unhauling as of the new year. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Share your thoughts in a comment below. Also, let me know if you are unhauling any books right now, what books they are. But it's so nice to unhaul, purge our shelves, and start fresh for the new year. Now we can go through our physical TBR, and it has all only books that we actually want to read. So it's such a good feeling. I highly recommend doing a book clear out of your shelves. Get them organized, get them purged. You will feel so much better. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below for more videos. We upload new videos every week here on this channel, and we also go live weekly for sprints. So we'd love for you to stick around and join our community, join our book club, the link's in the description box, leave a comment down below. And thank you again so much for watching. We really appreciate your support, and we will see you very, very soon in our next video. Bye, friends.